So thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm Julia Schneider. I work on the marketing team here at ButterflyMX. Today's session, we're going to be discussing our new exciting integration with Rent Manager. And with me today, I have Joe Easton, who's the channel partner account manager at Rent Manager. And from the ButterflyMX side, I have Jordan Moore, who's the director of customer success. So Jordan, if you could just toggle to the agenda slide, I'll just run through what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be going through an overview of both the Rent Manager and ButterflyMX software, and then we'll go into the details of the integration, and at the end we'll have a Q&A session. So just a few housekeeping items. There's no need to take notes or anything. We'll send out a copy of the recording right after. And we encourage you to ask questions. Please just leave them in the chat and we will get to all of them at the very end. So with that, I'll pass it off to Jordan, who's going to talk about ButterflyMX.
Thanks, Julia. Like Julia mentioned, my name is Jordan Moore. I am the Director of Customer Success here at ButterflyMX. ButterflyMX created the world's first cloud-based smart video intercom. Since launching in 2015, we've been installed in more than 4,500 buildings and more than 450,000 units around the world. Property managers really enjoy our online dashboard with features such as a simplified directory management and time and date stamped photos for added property security. And as you can see here, we really do rely upon our the most trusted names in real estate, and some of those partners include Greystar, Avalon Bay, Wood Partners, and more. Now here with points of innovation, so ButterflyMX on saving money. So here, developers really benefit from reduced installation cost. Our intercom only requires 3 connections: internet, power, and door strike, meaning there's no need to run additional building wiring or hardware to each unit. It has a simple design, cloud-based and mobile first, and secure access. So with ButterflyMX, like I mentioned earlier, you're gonna get a time and date stamped photo when someone visits the building and utilizes the intercom. So whether you're a property manager or a tenant, you're both going to get that level of security. Staying current with new features and updates that are pushed out regularly. So that would be features on the property management side and features for tenants. So they will find more value in using the product and using the mobile app. And syncs with property management softwares, just like Rent Manager. So having partnerships like the one we have with Rent Manager has been so valuable, to ButterflyMX and the mutual clients that we have, as it really is one database and it's a simple integration. And how it works. So call, answer, and audit. So when somebody comes to the building, usually a tenant's guest, a delivery, nowadays it's probably a lot of grocery deliveries, Uber Eats, that visitor is going to come to the intercom and they're going to place a call to either your leasing office if you have one on site, but typically your tenant. And for the tenant, what's really nice for them is on their end, they're going to receive a video call. So they're actually going to be able to know who that is at the door asking for that access to the building. And then, as mentioned earlier, the audit, the online dashboard. So here you'll be able to get that time and date stamped photo of that visitor when they came to the building. And that's going to bring us to Rent Manager. Hand it over to you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan and Julia, for having us on this webinar. My name is Joe Easton. I'm the channel partner account manager. And what that means is I spend most of my time strengthening and expanding our integrations program and working with companies just like ButterflyMX. So on the next slide, we'll show you a kind of a timeline of what Rent Manager has done over the last 30 years that we've been in the property management space. And I'm not going to go over all the details, but the idea here is that we have continually evolved our software, taking care of customers, and really try to make the best experience we can for our customers. Along the way, we are always discovering new ways to make it flexible and customizable, because we think that the way that you operate is really one of your competitive advantages in your market. So we want our software to kind of mold around how you operate rather than the other way around where you have to force yourself into your software. So what does Rent Manager do? On the next slide, there's a number of things that I'd like to point out. At its core, Rent Manager is accounting software, right? Accounting software made for property management. So all of your AR, AP, managing vendors, things like that are in our software, obviously. Business operations, things that you need to keep control of, looking at reporting, different metrics and things like that. All of your tenant information gets stored there. We offer different portals so your customers can pay online or submit maintenance requests online. All of those things are contained within our software, and we do other things outside the software, including making custom websites and even doing custom API projects for our customers as well. At the end of the day, we really believe that using software should simplify your life, right? It should make things easier. And that means accessing data faster, creating processes, and connecting your people, whether they are your tenants, your residents, or your staff. So we want to keep things simplified. And there's really 4 key areas that I think we really do a great job in doing that for you. And those are the areas of communication, automation, customization, and integration. So just real quickly, I think those are 4 things that anyone should want out of their property management software. And I'll explain a little bit of how we do that at Rent Manager. So with communication, all the data is in one place. So whether you're composing letters or emails, even text messages and phone calls, all the data is there and you can access it and pull it together to make that communication really, really quick. And then it all gets recorded back into the same database, so you can always go back and review it from time to time. Specifically with the phone, we use a voice over IP phone system that's integrated with our software. And that works best with like an actual hard phone that you'd set on your desk, as well as our mobile app. What that means is no matter where you're located, at the office, working from home, out in the field, you can communicate with your business phone line via phone calls or text messaging. You never have to rely on your own personal phone number getting out there. When it comes to automation, that's a buzzword. It's something people love to talk about, but it really is important to have your processes outlined and then use your software to automate those things. So when it comes to posting charges, collecting fees, routing service issues, our software will help you get those things done. And one of the key things about our software that I love is how customizable it really is. We have all types of user-defined fields that you can use, custom reports, scripted letters, and even the roles that you set up for your own users, your employees, can all be customized so you can operate exactly how you need to operate. And the 4th item, that's why we're here, integration. It's really, really at the core of what I do, and I really love the idea of our integrations program, opening up a whole network of providers that our users get to use and have that data move back and forth easily and keeping things in track and in sync. And we'll talk a little bit more about what Rent Manager and Butterfly do together in a moment. But even if you want to work with somebody that's not in our integrations program, we offer an API and open access so you can do those things through custom projects. Because again, to be simplified and to have a simplified operation, you have to make sure it's scalable, that it's repeatable, that's reliable, and all of those tools are available within our software to make it easier for you. And it really is the integrations program that allows companies like ButterflyMX to have an integration and make it much easier for our customers, our mutual customers, to use both of our softwares. So I guess at this point, Jordan, let's talk about what that integration looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I know from the ButterflyMX end, when we're talking to a client and, it's part of, integration is part of our onboarding process. So it's one of the things that our client success managers would take care of. And, when we have a client that says, yeah, we use Rent Manager, and we're able to say, well, great, we have an integration, it's exciting to them. They get really excited about it because they know that, well, when you have an integration, things are going to kind of just happen automatically. And when you can have that done for them, it's one less thing for them to worry about. So they really appreciate that. And, again, kind of from our end of it is that, with the integration with Rent Manager, it's really easy to put together. And luckily, there's little to do for the client on their end. We finish it up on our end. And then at that point, it's a daily thing that updates, which is really nice.
Yeah, it really is about making it simple, right? I know from the rent manager side, all of our users can easily activate integrations directly in our software. They literally click a button that says a Butterfly MX, and they can request activation, which then goes to your team to kind of wrap up on your end. And really, the customer doesn't have to do much at all, right? They just have to confirm that they're a customer and reap the benefits of the integration.
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about, syncing the two platforms, kind of going back to what I said earlier, all the relevant tenant data automatically gets pulled into the ButterflyMX software. So as long as you're putting the tenant information in Rate Manager on a daily basis, that tenant information is going to pour into the ButterflyMX platform. Which then I guess kind of rolls into the next point here of maintaining a single database. And, I think Joe and I, we were talking about this, and we agree that, maintaining a single base is huge for property management. As much as they have going on every single day, if you can cut down on the number of platforms that they have to utilize, so they can focus on, the real important things, which really is their residents. And, getting it down to one database really kind of frees up that time, and they can really focus on other things on site.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about kind of the move in and move out process, how most have like a laundry list of things that they have to do every time there's a move in or a move out, right? And the last thing you want to do is add an additional item to that list. And so it's great to know if they're using our softwares and they are using ButterflyMX, that is not another line item on there, right? That once the data is in Rent Manager, it's going to go to ButterflyMX. And from what I understand is at that point, they don't have to do anything, right? An email goes directly out to the new resident, and they can sign up and start using the service right away without having to interact with that property manager. And that's a great experience for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right. So when that tenant information does pull over into ButterflyMX, that tenant is going to get a registration email. From there, they simply just set up their password, download the app, and they're on their way with ButterflyMX, which then, where we see here, control who can access your building from anywhere in the world, which is what's really nice about ButterflyMX. If I am in another state and I have my dog walker coming over and I've maybe forgot to set up a virtual key, even though you should always set up a virtual key for those type of services, they would be able to call me and I would be able to let them into the building so they could, watch my dog. And it really gives the tenant that flexibility, and it gives them that control, so that way they're not really relying on the on-site team there to do that for them, where again, they can more focus on those higher ticket items.
Yeah, that's great. That's good to hear. And I think that's what everyone wants to do. They want to kind of eliminate all that back and forth with residents. Not that they don't love their residents, but if they can take care of things on their own, everyone's happier, right? No one wants to go and talk to the on-site manager to try to resolve an access issue.
Yeah, I agree.
That's great, guys. This has been really insightful. And what I'm hearing, it really just helps like take out the kinks in the move in, move out process, which is really huge for property managers. I mean, like you guys mentioned, there's so much to do for move in and move out. And not only does this eliminate those kinks, but it keeps your building secure as well, right? Like when these databases update automatically, you don't have to worry like, oh, does someone have access still to my building that maybe shouldn't, which is great peace of mind for both the property managers and the residents, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like we would move them in on a daily basis when they become a current resident, when they move out of the building, if and when they move out of the building, they would also move out of the ButterflyMX system. So that way they wouldn't have access to the building through their app. If they were sending virtual keys, those would no longer, work. So it could, again, keep that security tight on site.
Awesome. So we had a bunch of questions roll in already. So if that's okay with you guys, I'd like to get straight to those, but please keep submitting questions. We'll just get to them as they come in. And straight off the bat, I think there is one for you, Joe, and that is about the Rent Manager software. The question is Rent Manager specific to multifamily property management? If not, what asset classes does Rent Manager work best with?
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously, I think most of what we find with ButterflyMX customers are probably in the multifamily space, and that's where most of our customers are, the largest portion of them. But our software really is so customizable; it can be used with any type of industry. And in fact, we actually have a lot of non-residential property management companies that use our software for things that aren't even related to property management because it's really flexible. But in the property management world, multifamily would be number one. Single family home rentals, manufactured housing, student housing, HOA, it's kind of the whole wide spectrum of it. In fact, we actually got started in manufactured housing. And if anyone's ever worked in that industry, it's a very complicated uh, type of industry. And so that's why our software is so flexible, because we needed it to be for them, and everyone else gets to kind of reap the benefits of it. So really, if you're renting anything out, it'll work with our software, but multifamily, single family, and manufactured housing would be our top three.
Awesome, thanks, Joe. Jordan, we have a question for you about ButterflyMX. You talked about, access from a smartphone. What happens if a resident doesn't have a smartphone, or I'd imagine want to use a smartphone?
Yeah, great question. So, if you don't have access to a smartphone, our system is flexible in that sense too. So, if any device you have or a landline even, you would just receive a regular phone call, like you would get from any other call on your phone. You would be able to hear the person on the other side, and they would be able to hear you, so you could still have a conversation, verify who they are, and then if you needed to release the door or gate wherever you may be, you would simply just dial 9 on the keypad, and that would release it.
Awesome, thanks. And then what happens, or what if I have a tenant who does not want to integrate into the system?
Yeah, so we, obviously the property manager would need to let us know who that is. And from our end, we can basically just make sure that they don't filter over into the ButterflyMX system. And it's pretty simple, but we do all the work on our end, and you would just have to let us know that this is not something they're looking for.
Awesome, thanks. Joe, this is another question for you. It's a good question. Are there any restrictions regarding the number of units a customer can have with Rent Manager?
Yeah, that is a good question. So yeah, our software is really scalable. There's really no limitations on either end as far as a minimum or maximum. We've got a lot of very large customers that use our software, like enterprise level, but we even have small operators that use it as well. So we're saying, if you have less than 50 units, 50 doors, our software can work for you. But we literally have tens of thousands of units under one portfolio as well. And we've seen, that's kind of the great thing about being around for so many years, is we've seen many of our customers grow from having, dozens or hundreds of units up to thousands or tens of thousands of units. So the software really scales right along with them along the way.
Awesome. So here's another one. What happens if my tenant doesn't want their name showing in the directory, the intercom? Is that a Rent Manager issue, or is that a ButterflyMX issue?
That would be Butterfly, and not an issue at all, really. So again, either the tenant could reach out and let us know. We do have a support team on hand 7 days a week, but the property manager could also reach out to their dedicated client success manager, let them know they have this tenant who doesn't want to display in the directory there. And we actually have a couple different options for them to make it kind of flexible. So, we have a feature that we call anonymous, so they would be listed in the directory as resident 1. We can hide them from the directory. And so if a guest did come, they would be able to search that tenant's name. But if anybody were just scrolling through the directory, they would never show. You can also make a custom, what we call display name, so a name that's going to display within the directory, and that could really be whatever name you would want it to be. So if you used an alias for anything else, we could use that one too. And kind of just give them those options of how they want to be set up.
Awesome. So let me just see if I'll give it a minute and see if any other questions come through here. All right, here's another one. What other software programs does Rent Manager integrate with, and where can you find out more information?
Yeah, absolutely. We integrate with a lot. So we have a whole integrations program that I mentioned earlier where companies like ButterflyMX or whoever it might be can build integrations into our software. The best place to look is right on our website, rentmanager.com. And right at the top, there's an option for integrations, and you'll see the whole list of them there. You can sort them, you can look by category, you can search and find what you're looking for. Right now, we have just about 100 different companies that have built integrations into our software. So from smart home or smart technology, like something like smart intercom, to screening companies, collection companies, you name it, it probably exists if you're looking for something with the software.
Awesome. Jordan, we got another one for you as well, kind of similar to a question we got before, but does the ButterflyMX functionality work on a desktop?
So you can't download an app to a desktop. So for an app user, you're going to need to download that from your iTunes or Google Play Store, depending on what kind of phone you use. But the tenant can still access their account from a desktop. So when they register, they download the mobile app. That's the preference, obviously. But if for any reason they needed to log into their account from a desktop, they would be able to do that too. And from there, they would still be able to see door releases and their door pin. They would be able to create virtual keys and still have a lot of those features available to them.
Awesome. Thanks. So those are all the questions that we got. I don't see anything else, but if additional questions do come up, you can feel free to email any of us here on the call. And Jordan, if you just want to toggle there to the next slide, I can, here we have some information how to contact us. So if you want any other information about the integration, you can go to either website. And if you'd like a personalized demo of ButterflyMX, you can go to butterflymx.com/sales, or you can email us at sales@butterflymx.com. And for Rent Manager, you can go to rentmanager.com, or you can reach out to Joe directly at joe.easton@rentmanager.com, or you can call either one of us. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining. Just a reminder, we'll send out a copy of the recording after this. So thanks for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.